So let's continue. Now, talking about cybersecurity domains, like I said, if you were here, you joined this class, you didn't know what you didn't know what you chose. You just joined the class. Yes, you are in a very good place. Why I say that? There are different areas you can actually practice your cybersecurity now, or different domains of cybersecurity. Let me start with the one I am doing currently. That's the one you can see me doing, or the one you know that I'm doing. At least they ask you, okay, who's one is you can see it's cybersecurity, so you already know of that one, right? That's career development. That's an aspect of its career development. You can extend it to universities, schools, and the likes of them. Now, another one is let's talk about user education. Still similar to what I was talking about. Then the next one is security operation. Most of all these other domains are actually required by companies. Security operations. Now, security operations has so many extensions: vuln management, incident response, data leakage, active, and the likes of them. Framework and standard is actually maybe those that are in charge of making all these frameworks. Okay, framework is actually like a standard where that companies abide by. Take for example, okay, somebody's asking me to zoom. Okay, I'm coming. Oops. Please, what can you see on the screen currently? Let me be sure. Christiana, Steve, what can you see on the screen currently?
Okay. I can see different domains in cybersecurity.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's what I want everyone to see here. Now, looking at this now, I already explained that most of others are actually required by a company. Security operations, security architecture, risk assessment. Then there is one I saw I want to talk about. Yes, okay, risk assessment. Risk assessment. Very important. This is very sweet part. If I were to design this picture, I would have actually made this guy very, very red color. Now, talking about framework, like I was explaining before, it's like a standard or a set of standard adopted by companies. Now, NIST is a popular one. Let me give you one example. Take, for example, now you go to different companies. If you go to different companies, they will be like, you want to set the password. They already have like a standard that they follow. What's the standard? It must contain uppercase, lowercase, special character, then what is that thing again? Uppercase, lowercase, numbers, letters, then special characters, then 6 to, let me see, I say 6, let's say 8 to 16 or 8 and above. You get, so that kind of protocol or principle, something like that is called like a standard. So imagine you are now setting your password to be John 123. Let me say password to you're an admin for your company's website, and your password is now John 123. You're not actually following the standard. For you now, you can actually be the weak points whereby somebody will use to enter the company. When I mean enter, I don't mean enter physically, I mean enter digitally. And if you notice the best exploit in this life, most people don't know. The best exploit in this life is human being. Let's say you want to hack central bank. A lot of people will be looking for security loopholes and the likes of them. Where you can easily get exploits is human being. Just pick one of their employees, maybe that one that does not when they were teaching them cybersecurity, that one did not listen very well. You just attack him. If you attack him digitally, forget about it. You'll be able to orchestrate whatever it is you want to orchestrate. So these are the different domains that you have. So we have risk assessment. Risk assessment is 1 minute, please. Okay. Um Sorry. Try now. Okay, so that's that on that. Talking about the different domains. Now we proceed. Why is cybersecurity important? We already know why it is important. Now, this one is talking about the statistics, which I'm not going to really dwell more about. Nigeria loses 500 million to cybercrime yearly. Oh, all thanks to Yahoo boys. Cybercrime costs the world economy 500 billion. Okay, all the best to them. Now, in 2020 alone, Nigeria internet users were between 62 to 49. That's like, let me say, if you see two Nigerians, one of them has a phone and that one is connected to the internet. You get. If you see 10 Nigerians, it means 5 of them, at least 5 of them, they have phones and they are connected to the internet. That's 2022. Moving forward, 2023, that's 70 to what? 51%. Meaning if you see 10 Nigerians on an average, seven of them are connected to the internet. That's actually interesting. Now, who is at risk? We already know the answer to that question. Everybody. Okay. So some of us ask these questions. What do I have in my computer that is worth protecting? Who do I protect it from? How do I protect it? What are the consequences of not protecting it? And the likes of them. The cybersecurity program will actually teach you or tell you that apart from, let me say, you want to practice it professionally, I know there are some persons here that are actually working in, let me say, organizations. Now, the essence of this program to you is to know how to implement whatever it is you are learning here in your various organizations. Nobody's asking you to, let me say, okay, you want to be like a skilled hacker or number one hacker in Nigeria. No. For those working in bank or working in different organizations already, this program is actually meant to give you some insights as regards the various things that you have to protect in your computer, phone, email, and likes of them. Who you have to protect it from, how you're going to protect it, and the consequences of not protecting it. So let's proceed. Talking about a company, what kind of client data is worth protecting and the likes of them? So we have so many questions there. Now, before we move into that aspect, I want to ask a question. Steve, Chris, please help me unmute one person. Now the question goes those. Remember we talked about cyber kill chain before. First question is, explain to me or describe what a cyber kill chain is. Then the second question, okay, the second question is going to come from that first question. I just want to know what the cyber kill chain is first. So let me unmute somebody so the person can answer what a cyber kill chain is. Are we there?
Okay, Mr. Matthew, you've been muted.
Please, who did you unmute?
Okay, I did unmute Mr. Matthew because he was raising his hand and he wants to speak.
Okay, a cyber kill chain simply is an attack by an external attacker attempting to gain access to a data or asset inside the security perimeter.
Okay, let me ask you. Please don't mute your mic. Cyber kill chain, is it particularly an attack?
Yeah, it's an attack. It's an attack by an external attacker to gather information, to take recognizance and gather information.
Your choice of words, I'm not really comfortable with it. I'm not really comfortable with it. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the answer. Let's get from another person. Chrissy, help me unmute another person. Let me hear. Let me see if someone is going to provide what I want to hear.
Mr. David, you've been allowed to speak.
Mr. David. Please, the moment someone fails to speak, you can actually mute the person like almost immediately. So we move to another person.
Mr. Godwin, you've been allowed to speak. Mr. Abraham Friday, you can speak now. Mr. Oche, would you like to help us with an answer? You've been unmuted.
At the same time, Mr. Olamiposi Adekola, you can answer the question.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
So talking about cyber kitchen, it's already talking about the process of or like the process of like gaining access into like an internet. So and the process start from recognition, then you intrude, then you exploit the vulnerability, then gain and escalate the process, then the other stuff.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much
Like,
for that.
but
Please don't
it's
hear
actually
mute
a
your
process.
mic. They don't hear mute your mic. I'll still ask you another question. Thank you. Now, nice answer. You said it's a process. Yes, I agree with you. That's why I was not really comfortable with the previous answer I got when he said it's an attack. It's not actually an attack. It's like, let me see, a model that explains explicitly how an attack should be carried out, right? And you have actually given me the processes from beginning to the end. Anyways, there's actually no end if I'm to put it that way, but let's just say from the beginning. So because another person might just have to install like a backdoor. So let me ask one question. It's a bit technical. Now, it's not really technical. In a chain, just normal chain like a chain of a dog or chain of anything, normal chain. What determines the strength of a chain? Mr. Kposi, do you know the answer to that? What determines the strength of a chain?
Okay. Like I want to ask, are you trying to ask about like you want to link it to the normal chain or like in
Yes, normal
cybersecurity,
chain.
like okay, like the
Cybersecurity, just normal
texture.
chain.
Okay, like it is the texture of the chain, how strong it is. For instance, uh, for you, someone cannot use a chain which is used to kind of hold like monkey to use that kind of chain for dog. It will not kind of align. So it is the texture
All right.
of the chain.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay, what I wanted to actually say is correct. The strength of the chain, what is used to make the chain, but still I want to like bring out something in what he said. Now that thing is the strength of a chain actually, or let me say the weakness of a chain. That's how I should have asked the question. The weakness of a chain actually lie in the weakest part of that chain. Or we can still use the word, the strength of a chain lies in the weakest part of that chain. I don't know if you understand like what I'm trying to say. I'm going to link it to cybersecurity right now, but I want us to understand these concepts. Can somebody like explain what I just said? How the weakest part of a chain actually determines the strength of that chain or how strong that chain is. So when the person explains it, the person should now link it to cybersecurity. Chrissy, please let me unmute somebody, then the person would answer that question.
Okay, Mr. Shadrach, you've been allowed to speak. Okay, Abdulaziz, you've been allowed to speak. Okay, please, if you do not have anything to say, can you just put down your hand so that those that really want to answer the question, we can actually pick them to actually answer the question. Is that okay? Mr. Amos, you've been allowed to speak. Olalekan, I don't know if I called that name correctly. You've been allowed to speak.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
I can hear you. Please speak.
Okay. All right. I'm finding the chain part. I think the strength of a chain can be determined by the weak link, as you said, and comparing it to the cyber chain context. It is the strength of an attacker that it is the strength of an attacker that determines the weak point of the attack sequence. That is, once the attacker defines the weak point of which it can penetrate, that's where it can penetrate through the organization. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, I would have actually allowed more persons to talk, but it's looking like that lot of persons raising up their hands, but at the same time, probably they are not here. We just raised up their hand and they went. Okay, that is why some of us still ask questions that have been asked or we've answered. Now let me give a general like warning or instruction, not a warning actually, like an instruction. Please let's avoid typing messages in the announcement session, that announcement part. Please don't send any message there again. The reason is so that I'm going to delete all the messages there currently. The reason is because we want to use the ask your question segment, so you can use that one to ask any question you want to ask. Then the announcement will be for what? Only sensitive or important information, or as the name implies, it should just be for what? Announcement. So I've already gone there right now to delete all the messages there. So please and please and please, we are all doing it for our good. Now, going back to the question I asked, talking about the chain, emphasizing on the weakness. Now, the strength of the chain actually lies in the strength of each part of it. Now, let's say there is a particular part of the chain. You know what a chain is now? Interconnected metal pieces. Let's assume one part of that metal piece, one part is actually very weak. Do you agree with me that that chain is actually as weak as that part that is weak? So if one part is rusty, like very, very rusty, you agree with me that the chain itself, even if the chain is looking brand new, in as much as one part is rusty, forget it. If you use that chain to tie anything, there's very high chance that it can actually cut or break. Now let's link it to cybersecurity. You have an organization. Let's use First Bank of Nigeria. No, let's use Access Bank. They're not sponsoring this program. Access Bank. Now, Access Bank has strong security posture that's digitally strong. They've used, let me say, up to date software. Everything is running up to date. Good. That aspect of the chain is strong. Their employees, they already sensitized all of them. That aspect of the chain is strong. So now there is one person, when they were doing this sensitization, that person did not come to office. So he did not get the information about some cybersecurity policies. Now that person is the weak man in the chain. As that one is weak, we can now agree, or we can now say that Access Bank's security posture is actually weak because of that singular person that is weak. Meaning, if we know the person and want to attack Access Bank, all we need to do is go through him. You don't really need to start testing their website and the likes of them. If you notice all these big attacks that have happened time past, you go and read them up. There was this particular one I read about Uber, that they attacked Uber. They didn't go to attack the website or whatever, because most of the time, their websites, most of the time, well, I'm not saying all the time, most of the time, there's actually strong security posture there. So if you are testing the website, there's a very high chance you will not see vulnerability to exploit. But that person, the hacker, actually looked at the employees. He looked at one that there's very high chance that one will be vulnerable, and he went through that one. Then he sent somebody called persistent. I don't know. Let's next thing is going to be for attacks. We'll talk about attacks, how different attacks are, and how they can be carried out. So let's go on with our slide. Now, an older adage states that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. This applies to cybersecurity too. For example, the best door lock is of no use if you have a cheap window latches, just like what I've explained before. Now, we have three things: security, anonymity, privacy. They are all interrelated, but they are still not, they don't mean the same thing. As the name implies, security, which we already know. Anonymity, you not being identified. Privacy, which we already know. Now, CIA triad. CIA triad. Like I said at the beginning of the class, we are actually doing what we have done, or what, for those that have not yet done this school course, we are actually doing either what we have done or what we are going to do in the school course. So before I even delve into it, before I explain myself, I just want to just try to explain confidentiality, integrity, and availability before I explain it myself. Christiana, please let me unmute someone. Let the person explain.